Gamers Talking Gaming number 10. Mike, what's going on? How you doing out there in Cincinnati?
Yes, you can say that with a period. Cincinnati or exclamation mark or something. I don't know. Yeah. Hi.
Did the Reds win today? Did they even play?
They won today. They're playing the Phillies, who are also terrible, so that worked out great.
My mom's from Philadelphia, so I kind of rep the Phillies.
Yeah, well, my wife is from Philly too, so yeah, I can't root hard for the Reds. I have to root for the Phils. So.
Gotcha, understood. It was a lot easier to root for the Phillies when they won that World Series back in 2006.
Yeah, whenever that was, but yeah.
Ryan Howard when Cole Hamels was good.
Right. Yeah, well, Ryan Howard's only like 57 years old, but he's still on the team.
And he gets paid $200 billion a day.
Yeah, that is correct. Yep.
It's still okay if he bats 220 or 230.
That's fine. He'll be the leading hitter on the team.
So we got Mike in the studio today, and I think this is going to be the best podcast for two reasons. Do you know why?
Ah, crap. No.
Because production-wise, you have a microphone and an audio recorder on your end, so it's going to sound the most pleasant. And we did the most research beforehand of what we were going to talk about. So there's not going to be as much deer in the headlights. Not saying in the past it was awkward. I've loved every interview. I think this is fun as hell. But I think we have a good idea of the questions and answers of the things we're going to talk about in the next hour.
Sounds awesome, man. Yep.
You ready to get into it?
I am. Let's do it.
Can I ask you a very personal, deep, dark question?
Oh, yeah. This should be good.
Do you remember your first video game memory?
I do, right? And it's going to be embarrassing. But, hey, this is
Let's hear it. Live your life.
Do. Yeah, so I'm not the youngest dude you're going to have on. So my first gaming memory was so a friend of mine had a computer. He was like the only guy that had a computer within 50-mile radius. So
okay,
hanging out at his house, and I was like 8. And he had this game on his Tandy color computer called Dancing Demon.
Dancing Demon.
Yeah.
Dancing Demon.
There are YouTube videos. You should check out the YouTube video for Dancing Demon, and then you will say this.
8 years old, Dancing Demon.
Yeah,
okay, did this blow your mind?
Yep.
Was it on from there? Did you run home and beg your parents to buy you a computer?
Yeah, and they were like, yeah, no, good luck with that. So I would go to his house and play games at his house, and then we finally, we got the old Atari 2600, and I was off and running, and I have never looked back.
How were you getting games as an 8-year-old? Christmas?
Yep.
Pretty much that's it? You get 1 or 2 games a year?
Yep, exactly. Because, the Atari games were like $40, and that was in, the late 70s.
Yeah.
That was like infinity dollars to me.
We're going to talk about selling points and minimum wage a lot in this interview. So if we're talking $40 in late 70s, early 80s?
Yeah.
What was minimum wage in Cincinnati? Because in California it was probably like $2.
Yeah, so I probably had my first job in like the early 80s. Yeah, so it was like $3.15 an hour.
$3.15 an hour was the minimum wage have you grown up in Cincinnati your whole life?
No, actually I'm from New Mexico. I grew up in Albuquerque.
You're okay. You're from the West Coast, somewhat.
Well, Southwest.
Early 80s, you have a job. Is this a fast food job? Is this some high school job? Some chum job?
Yeah, it's actually not a bad job, but I mean it was a retail job, right? I was selling.
It's a retail job.
Selling music.
There's no money in retail, but it's a job.
Yep.
So, did your Atari collection grow? Did you? Because I'm going to creep on your Instagram right now, and it looks like you have more video games than anybody ever in the world. Do you still have some of these Atari games?
I do. And so I had a pretty hefty collection then, because that was all I wanted was like Star Wars figures and Atari games.
Star Wars figures. Okay, so let me get this straight. You're the original owner of some of these Atari games from the early 80s. You've bought these, never sold them, never traded them, and you've held on to them.
Some of them, yeah. Not all of them. Some of them I had to rebuy, but yeah, I mean, probably, I don't know, almost 24 of the Atari games I have are original.
2,000?
24.
24.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was like, whoa. I'm going to, for the people listening, I'm going to get schooled in this podcast. But I think I'm going to learn a lot. I think this is going to be a good history lesson for me. But I'm going to try to keep up with you and Google stuff as fast as I can.
Well, yeah. So it goes both ways, right, man? Like you had sent me a couple of questions. You sent me like, hey, what's your favorite Capcom NES title? And I'm like, uh.
Was that past your time? Were you not
Google.
into?
Yeah. So I was like, yeah. I mean, I was kind of a PC gamer up through,
Okay.
probably the late '90s, early 2000s, and so yeah, I kind of missed all that. So I've kind of been like, it's been awesome because I'm reliving all of that for the first time, right? Like it's the first
Are
time I've ever.
we're talking like Wolfenstein? I mean,
Yeah.
but
Oh
the
yeah,
PC
any of
games
that.
I played were like Midnight Rescue,
Yeah, yeah, no, like yeah, well, definitely
learning games.
Wolfenstein and yeah, like Commander Keen and
Yeah.
like all those old id games and then a lot of old adventure games. I played a ton of those and yep,
Monkey Island.
Monkey Island, like yes, Matt,
Shout out to Matt. He just had a baby girl this week. Matt's
absolutely.
one of the nicest dudes. I've never met you in real life, but we're gonna change that before we.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that would be a cool potential future podcast, as we could do a party call, right?
A three
It would
way.
be insane. Well, yeah, let's be careful with the terminology, but yeah,
A three way. No pun intended.
right, right. No, but
What we're gonna do is I'm gonna connect with a guy that's gonna. I don't know if you follow Dirty Horror on Instagram. He's a San Francisco media guy, and he's gonna set me up where we could take calls and people call in, and 5 minutes, take off, chug a beer. Uh, it's not gonna happen in the near future. Maybe in the next couple months, but definitely not gonna happen in the next couple weeks. But that's definitely on my to-do list.
cool. That'd be sweet. Yep,
Yeah, to get me, you, and Matt on,
absolutely.
have a beer, talk some games. Okay, so you're the most sought after guy. I've done 9 interviews. 3 of the people have wanted you on. Why do you think that's it? Why do you think the reason
Yeah,
is for people wanting to hear what you want to say,
I don't know. I
what
mean,
you have to say?
yeah, I guess it's kind of weird, right? So my collection's pretty eclectic. It's not like I'm Mister like I'm gonna get every single N64 game or every single whatever. And I
Okay.
don't like focus on the heavy hitters, partly because they're crazy expensive. But so yeah, I focus on stuff I
You,
want to play. So I think maybe like I post stuff I'm pretty passionate about. So I have weird corner case collections. Like I posted, I don't know, like a random picture of all my handhelds. I have like more handhelds than is probably healthy for any human to have, because I love it. Like
okay.
I love the hardware side of it a lot. Like I collect
I'm.
hardware more than games almost, and so I think just for any Instagram
I
person,
see that. I see
if
that.
they're
I just pulled
posting
up your
stuff
picture.
that they are passionate about, right, then it shows, right, and I think people get more into that. I guess, like I don't know,
So it's a collection. People admire your collection.
yeah, I guess so. And
What do you think your
I try
collect?
to be a nice guy, and I only follow people that I think are cool people that I want to follow, and I don't do any of the follow for follow crap or any of that.
Either do I. I try not to do that. But are you influenced by? I mean, do you get excited if somebody with 10,000 followers adds you or follows you? Or
In
do
a
you?
sick, twisted way, kind of, yeah. Like it's funny, right? Like you talked in one of your other podcasts. I don't remember which one it was, but you kind of hit the nail on the head where you're like, hey, so I have real life where I talk to my coworkers and my neighbors, and they don't know
Mm-hmm.
that I'm a dirty little video game player in my basement.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think kind of, you get on Instagram and you or I are doing our thing, right? And we're posting games and whatnot, stuff that we're really into, but we can't share with our real life people. And
Right.
so when you get followers and you get even popular followers, not whatever, it's kind of like validating that you're not a complete doofus, right? Right?
To me, it's a comfort zone. Because I played video games in the closet my whole life. The guys that got the girls growing up, they didn't play video games. They were really good at sports.
Right.
So I tried to do that to be one of the boys.
Right.
But my love was when I was hanging out in my bedroom and I was playing Final Fantasy VII, or I was playing Chrono Trigger, or I was playing Breath of Fire 2. So Instagram is great for people like us, I guess, right? We go into our basement or our Narnia closet and we just kind of take the weight off the world. But I think there's politics to Instagram. I think there's a lot of ass kissing. I think there's a lot of, I guess what you just said, follow for follow.
Yeah, definitely. And you see some things. I mean, and I get it, right? Like some people just kind of really get off on getting followers, and that's why they're on Instagram.
Sure. Yep.
And that's cool. Like, that's their thing. Whatever. Just don't be an asshat to everybody else.
I agree. I had a really good, I think I had a good reputation or whatever with everybody on Instagram. And then I got into it with some girl. I'm not going to name names. And we threatened each other that she did some things. And I was really angry last month trying to one up this girl. And then I remember maybe like March 17th or March 20th, I remember coming home from work. And I was sitting there in my couch. I wasn't drinking. I was just kind of, you know, I'm a bartender, so I deal with drunk people all day. And I remember I was sitting on my couch and I was thinking, like, what am I doing? Like, you know, I had this unfollow app, but I'm unfollowing people that unfollow me. Or if people don't, I don't know, maybe if they have 1,000, they're following 1,000 people, I would just unfollow them. And I was thinking, like, maybe I got too into this. You know, this was about seeing pictures of video games. This wasn't about politics or being the man or trying to make money. This was about video games and people that had the same thoughts as I did. Like, maybe video games weren't the coolest thing to do growing up. And now Instagram has kind of united all the nerds and it became cool.
Yeah, totally agreed. Yeah, and you know, it's like I did it on purpose too. I pulled down one of those Instagram apps and I like got all into the whatever the metrics and the statistics, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, this is
What do you mean?
well,
What do you mean?
well, like you know, the worst thing in the world, right, is to pull down an app where it's like telling you, hey, here are the people that unfollowed you, and then here I am like being angry at these people that I don't know. Like, why did you unfollow me?
Right. So you did it too. I'd imagine 90%, 99 or whatever, 95% of the people in the community probably have this app, right? And I talked to Cronebunner about this, and he was like, yeah, if somebody wants to unfollow me, why should I follow them? I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. But like, I don't want to do this like cat and mouse game of like, I've got to check this shit every hour.
Right.
I got to Hawkeye this to, you know, this is how I'm living my life. This is crazy.
Yeah, so yeah, I uninstalled like I don't remember which app I tried, but I uninstalled it and just like, you know, I'm just going to relax, not worry about it. And
I bought an app. I'm a total loser. I paid money for like an unfollow app.
yeah, well, you kind of got a, you know, not a money making business thing, but you know, you're trying to gain an audience and stuff, so I can respect that. It's all good.
Sure. What do Instagram followers mean to you? Is it better to engage? Is it better to trade, to buy, sell, and trade faster? Is it an ego thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's a little bit of like a finding people with like interests, right? That's the you know, the hoity-toity answer, but you know, it's also kind of cool. Like I kind of enjoy getting followers. Like I said, it kind of validates the fact that hey, somebody is interested in something I'm doing that I can't talk about with other people, right? And so
it's like our Fight Club,
yeah,
right?
It's
like
exactly,
Fight Club.
Yeah.
We can't. Do you not like? And I've talked to Nintendo Jess about this. Do you not like when coworkers or neighbors or friends and family find your Instagram account? Because I hate it.
Oh, it's super awkward, right? Yeah.
It's super awkward.
Yeah, totally.
Like, what do you want me to post? Sunsets, pictures of my food,
right?
Pictures of me all, you know, wearing a tuxedo or dolled up.
Right, exactly. And it's like, okay, I'll go to Facebook when I want to do like old people stuff, and then when I want to do game stuff, I'll get on Instagram. So
sure, and you want to distinguish those. You don't want them to overlap and people being like, dude, because you're just gonna get judged. People are gonna tell you like we're too old and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, and I get all the you're into all the same stuff that my kids are into, and I'm like, well, good for your kids.
I tried pulling this shit up at work. I work at a brewery, and the owners are my age. And I remember, like, I wanted to show off one of my YouTube videos to them because Brews and Vids started out where I would play video games, retro video games like Quackshot or Mega Man or DuckTales, and I would drink beer, and I would write jokes as I would play the game, record it, and then go over it with audio jokes. And I remember showing it to my coworkers and some of our regulars, and they were like, what the fuck is this, man? Like, this is like what 5-year-olds do. And I was like, I'm out of here. Everybody have a good night. I hate you all.
Yeah, right. You all can just burn in hell. That's fine. Have a good one.
No, I think that you have a good handle on Instagram. I don't think you're doing spam giveaways every day like some people. Most people don't. I think that the giveaway card is kind of sailed, but I think I truly enjoy looking at your Instagram account. I'm looking at a Michael Myers Tetris picture right now.
Yeah, I can't remember which one that was, but yeah,
Let me
somebody I
go
bought
back.
games from sent me a random like free Michael Myers bobblehead, but just the head.
4 weeks ago. I like this. Okay, so I'm looking at your Chrono Trigger right now. This is a CIB, right?
Yep.
Closed in case in box. You have the manual, you have the sleeve, and you have the box. What does this go for? Because I have no idea what video games are
So
worth.
it's just kind of gotten criminally insane, right? So like I picked that up and felt totally robbed. I think I paid $105 for that, and it was
That
yeah, that
that
was
doesn't
like
sound bad
now that's a
compared to
good
like some
price.
of the
So it's
stories.
like 150, 180, and
Okay.
it's not even in that good a shape. It's pretty torn up. Like the box is pretty beaten, but I don't really
Does
care about that so much. So
does it work?
yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
What will you trade for this? Can I trade you like a Mad Catz PS1 controller?
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
like 50 of
I'm
them
just
maybe.
kidding.
That'd be cool. No,
Let,
that's all
what's
good.
up
Yeah,
with you're kind of cutting out. Can you hear me?
yeah.
Mike, what's going on with that PS3 you bought for $600 that almost got you and your wife a divorce? What year was that?
So yeah, I knew it was coming out, and I'm a total hardware geek, right? Like we've talked about, and so
Sure.
I buy consoles like day one all the time, which
Okay.
she is now used to. She was not cool with back then, right? So it was coming out. It was gonna have a
Wait. Are you
Blu-ray
still married?
player.
Did you get to
What's
keep
that?
the wife?
Sorry, I was talking over you.
Are you currently married? Did you get to keep the wife and the PS3?
I did, and in fact now,
Good
like,
man. Okay.
yeah, she's
Mike wins. Mike Henderson wins.
that's correct. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to say she loses because then I'm in trouble. So.
Then you're really gonna pay for
That
it.
is correct. But yeah, I bought it release day. I stood outside in the BF cold to pre-order it, and yeah,
That's how much it debuted for.
Sick.
PS3 was $599.
yep, for a 60 gig PS3.
Do you know why they did that? I think I know why they did that. Because when the PS2 was coming out, I don't know what it was like in Albuquerque or if you were in Cincinnati at that time, but everybody on the radio for the first 2 months before it debuted, every 91X or DJ or disc jockey was talking about buying PlayStation 2s, getting them early for about $800.
Yeah.
So maybe PlayStation caught wind that like, okay, when we come out with PlayStation 3, we'll move it closer towards that price. Because that's pretty damn high. $600, that's pretty high to buy a console at retail.
Yeah, undoubtedly, right? Yeah, that was nuts. And I kind of feel dumb for having done it, but I was like, oh, it's like a computer. It's got a Blu-ray player, blah, blah, blah. You convince
forgot about
yourself that
that.
it's all a good deal.
Was the PS3 in terms of like the hardware and stuff, like credibility wise, was it good? Because I played my buddy's PS3 one time and it broke. And I had an ongoing thing with the Xbox 360 where I would get the red ring of death all the time. Was the PS3 bulletproof or did it break down?
No, it broke
for
down.
no reason.
On the PS3, it's known as the yellow light of death, the YLOD.
I never even heard of that.
Yeah, like
the yellow light of death.
Yep.
And that could happen the first month you buy
Yep,
it or
yep,
the third year
absolutely.
you buy it. Just didn't matter.
I totally lucked out. Mine was fine, but like my Xbox, I bought a release day Xbox 360 and it was stone dead 2 months later.
Damn.
Which-
What Xbox 360 debut at? No more than 4.
Yeah,
Was
I
it
want to say
5?
4 sounds right. Yeah.
That'll get you one controller and like 16 gigabyte hard drive or something.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I just bought a new. I'm putting together an Xbox 360 right now. I want to ship it out to Chrome Boner. I've got a couple, but I'm waiting on a hard drive right now. Yeah, I think it's 32 tops.
Yeah, it kind of blows my mind that I can buy a used 360 for less than I can buy a used Super NES.
When you buy, are you talking about Instagram? Or are you talking about eBay?
Like probably more eBay than IG.
That seems like the general course of action, the best course of action. I was talking to Keiko Megan. Do you follow her on Instagram?
Yeah. She's another Ohio person, so that's cool.
Another girl out in Ohio, huge collection, and she was saying that to not buy anything except unless it's from eBay or something. Don't quote me, verbatim, but it was something along the lines where like if you want to go and buy 20-year-old games, go through eBay. Don't buy from somebody on Instagram. If the game doesn't work, it could create a whole war. If somebody sends you something that's got a crack in it, or they just cut out with communication. It could create this whole Instagram, friendly fire. So I guess eBay is the best course of action.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, IG is fine Instagram's fine if you know the person.
Sure,
They get
and they'll make up for it if something does go south.
Yeah, like there's a lot of cool sellers on IG. Yeah, and I have been flat out ripped off where a dude sold a bunch of stuff and then just fell off the earth, right? And then you have zero protection there. So,
did you ever connect with this guy? Was this somebody that everybody's gonna know, or did he literally delete his Instagram account?
No, I think his account's still there. He just fell off the earth.
Should we name drop or no?
If he's out there and actually listening to this, then log into your damn account and send the games.
It's Solo Jones. I know it. They call me. Do you follow him?
I actually do still follow him.
You still follow him? You're not over his shitty ass bookshelf that he posts 1,400 times a day?
Yeah, I've gotten to know that bookshelf. It's like an old friend at this point.
What's that thing worth? Is that even worth money? I understand that he's got the PAL games that he was supposed to do in a giveaway that keep showing up. Is that stuff worth, a couple $1,000s?
He's got some decently rare stuff. I mean, shoot, man, some of those controllers he has are, they're worth $100 or more. I mean, he's got a decent collection of controllers. It's just like, I don't know. It's his thing. I won't criticize his thing, but
okay, we'll leave it at that. I don't think he listens to this. The people out in Pennsylvania Hawkeye this, but I don't get too much traffic from Tennessee. So I think you're safe in that department. So you've lived. I'm 31 years old. I was born in 1985. I've seen systems consistently fail. I've seen systems come and go. I've seen the Dreamcast fail. I bought it. It failed. The Jaguar, the 3DO, the Virtual Boy, and the N-Gage. I've seen those in from what I can remember. I've seen them come and go. I've seen big marketing, ad campaigns, and I've seen them off the shelves within 2 years.
Yep.
I'm looking at a list right now. Do you know this stuff? I don't even know. Digiblast, Commodore.
Yeah, I mean the Commodore I am super familiar with. Like I've owned Commodore everything back in the day.
There's a Commodore 64 that ate shit. There's a Commodore CD-TV that bombed.
Yep.
All this Sega stuff ate shit. Sega 32X, Sega CD, Sega Nomad, Sega Saturn.
Yeah, poor Sega is like, yeah, they had a rough go, man. Like after the
Red-headed
Genesis,
stepchild.
they just circled the drain at that point. It was like
Nintendo's got one console on this. Can you name it?
they have two on this list, right?
I'm looking at the one all the way at the bottom, the infrared.
Oh yeah,
the
the Virtual Boy.
What was up with that? Just because it was so awkward to play?
Yeah, it was horribly
hanging out at the
awkward.
dinner table, staring into this thing.
Yeah, it gave you like migraines to try to play it. I have one, but I bought it like recently and it was throwaway cheap.
Was it for liability purposes? Were kids having like seizures or something?
No, I don't
or
think it was anything like that. I think it just flopped. Yeah.
I had a buddy that played he had a tennis game and I was like, this isn't that fun. I'm just looking at red.
Right, yeah.
Kind of military-looking lines.
It's gonna make
for
me
a
want to
couple
kill
hours.
myself. Yeah.
I want to lay down on a couch. When am I supposed to put this thing over my face? But some of these, like the Nintendo 64 DD, I don't even remember that.
Right. Yeah.
Do you have one of those?
That's an unfortunate name, right? Like
64 Double D.
Yes. No, I do
you
not
have
own
one of those?
I've eyeballed them, like you were saying. I forget where you said it, but it was like those things now sell for over $1,000, or I've seen them over $1,000.
The last one on eBay,
Yeah.
I'm looking at sold for $600.
Right.
I don't even know what condition it's in, but I could probably look at how many there was made. There was probably only a couple thousand,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
15 sets were sold.
Yeah, that's amazing.
85,000 sets became scrap.
That's awesome.
They made 100K, 15 sold, 85 were dead weight. 85,000 were junkyard parts.
That's amazing. Yeah, some of these I have no clue what they are. What the heck is an FM Towns and FM Towns Marty?
I don't know. Why do video games fail? I think the biggest factor is that they're too high in money. I mean, and I think even TurboGrafx 16 could possibly be on this list. But what's your take on games failing?
I don't know.
Systems.
Yeah, some of it's cost, but I think it's also just timing. Like a lot of these, I think were catch-up consoles where they were trying to catch up the popular console, and
Sure.
just got their butt handed to them. I mean,
Right.
the N-Gage, you could argue, was before its time, right? Like everybody looked at that and was like, "Oh, I'm not going to game on my phone. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, that was Nokia's thing, and I remember my buddy in college had it, and he was playing either Pro Skater 1 or Pro Skater 2, but I remember thinking like, I don't know if I'd spend, a few $100s on this. I mean, this is a game everybody had a few years ago.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It didn't look so good, and you had I think that at that point it was like the DS Lite was out.
Right.
It's like if I'm gonna game.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna game. But yeah, some of these I don't know. Yeah, some of them were definitely cost. Like the the Laser Active. Like no way, a Laserdisc player with a game console built in. That was probably a $700 retail.
What do you think's the bigger factor of a game failing? It being too expensive, or it not having like a poster child game, like how Nintendo had Mario, how Sega had Sonic, these branded characters.
Yeah.
What do you think's the bigger factor?
Yeah, I think the bigger factor is not having that catch, right? The reason to buy the console. Xbox had the Halo and
right.
Yeah.
I think Xbox, the original Xbox, would have ate shit without Halo. I think it would have failed.
Oh, absolutely.
I think Microsoft would have lost a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And yeah, I mean, like I said, a lot of these I feel like they were trying to play catch up with their competitors, and they just didn't have that hook.
What would you say the poster game for TurboGrafx 16 was?
Oh my God, I don't even know, right? I don't know what the reason.
What about Bonks?
Yeah, Bonk is that's like their Mario, right? So.
Yeah, that's the one I remember the most.
That's the one
most
I still
people
play.
Having. Bonks Adventure, was it Bonks or Bonks 2? They had 2 games or no?
I think they had three or 4. Yeah, there was like Bonks Adventure. Yeah.
All for the TurboGrafx 16?
Yeah.
They had 4 games.
Yeah, 3 or 4. Yeah.
More than 2.
More than 2.
More than 2.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to look at these now. Now I want to buy these. PC-FX. Oh, this is what you were talking about, the Philips CDI.
Well, the
CDI.
Yeah, the one right below it is the Laser Active. The CDI.
Active.
The CDI was just a piece of crap. It was just underpowered, and it was just awful. I don't know if you ever have seen games on that console, but they're just bad.
I remember one of these. It was either the CDI or it was maybe the Jaguar. But remember there was it might have been 3DO. Remember there was a commercial that came out that they were playing on every channel to promote. I think it was the 3DO, and it was like a ripoff of the Jurassic Park T-Rex scene where there's a T-Rex just going at you and you're trying to run from it. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
that commercial?
Yeah, that might have been 3DO. Yeah, that sounds right.
I think you're right. Man, look at all this money lost.
Yeah,
look at all these.
Oh yeah, crazy.
Why do you think the Dreamcast failed?
There's been a lot of speculation about why it failed, and I don't know. I've heard people say that they think the cost is the reason that it died, but also
what did it debut
just
at?
That the PS2 had the DVD player built in when DVD was like the hot new thing, right? And
Yep.
And it just, like you said, they had this cachet of all these games that they could. Well, I guess back that would be PlayStation 1, so. PlayStation 1, I think, established enough games that PS2 had some momentum, and it was backwards compatible, and
right.
it was like, I remember like one of my best friends was like just chomping at the bit for the PS2 until it came out.
There was nothing better than the PS2. Like when your buddy came over with that blue box.
Oh yeah.
That big blue. Seeing that was like, oh my God. I debate which is a better system, PS2 or Super Nintendo, because I think they're the 2 best systems of all time. But I agree with everything you just said about Dreamcast. I think Dreamcast went up against the impossible, competing with PS2.
Right, absolutely.
Competing with the Squaresoft games, competing with
just so many
Tekken or just whatever, the PS1 had already established, Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, Tomb Raider, all that stuff, right? It was just like,
what were some of the earlier games that came out for PS2?
I
remember there was an ATV game I used to play.
Yeah.
Smuggler's Run.
Yeah,
that came out for PS2.
Yeah, I don't know.
What was the Mad Max game? It was kind of like Ghouls and Ghosts.
Right, yeah.
Max. You get hit, and all of a sudden you're wearing your underwear. You got polka dot
Yeah,
boxers.
you
remember that?
Yep, good stuff, man. That's awesome.
So I guess the DVD was probably one of the bigger selling points as well, right? Because at that time, people were spending $16, $17 for DVDs, like they're CDs, like
Right.
music albums and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your favorite system of all time?
So for me, yeah, it's probably PS2 also. Like again, I'm an
PS2?
RPG guy. So
Okay. What was
that's
your
like a gold
what,
mine.
what RPG stand out to you?
On that system, I mean, there's just I don't know. It's a basically an unlimited quantity, right? So there's like
Sure.
the Final Fantasy X is awesome. Final Fantasy 12 is awesome. There's like
Did you play them all? Like 10-2 and
yeah,
the one with
I played them
Riku
all.
on the cover?
And
You played them all?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. So you played them all. Mike's a big RPG guy.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, right. Yeah, I'm RPGs and adventure games and action adventures like all day long. Actually, probably my
Did you?
current system I love the most is the PS3 is the one I probably play the most.
What are you playing right now?
On that one, I just started playing Ni no Kuni, which is it's an RPG, JRPG, but the artwork is like hand drawn by the people. Do you know Studio Ghibli? They do.
No.
So have you ever heard of the movie like My Neighbor Totoro? Or
I've heard of the Burbs with Tom Hanks, but
yeah.
but no.
Anyway, so they're like the Japanese Disney, right? So they
Gotcha.
did all this hand-drawn
Gotcha.
art, and it's freaking phenomenal. It's a great game.
They got all the money.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, that helps.
That helps. Mike, we're coming up to a half an hour. Let's go ahead and do a mandatory beer chug. Let's talk about some beers. Let's talk about your collection and what it's worth after this. Let's talk about the most emotional video game moment you remember. And let's talk about beer.
I like it.
All right, I'm going to hit the restroom. We'll be right back.
That's good.